All right, so welcome, and we'll get started on our backs. I'll let you get settled in before I start to guide. So finding maybe the X shape on your back. So lying on your back, legs apart, arms apart, so your body makes the shape of an X. And then invoke the yawn so that you can pendiculate. So you can start to stretch and open up just like your dog or your cat. So really get that pendiculation going. And take a couple of rounds of yawning here. And then take your hands, both hands, right at the upper, sort of upper belly, or where your rib cage and the belly meet, kind of the heart area, or right above the heart space, but somewhere in that area. And bring your attention to the space between your hands and your body and your heart space. Just bring your attention into that space. Moving from any outer sensibilities, outer callings, to your inner space. One of my teachers calls this seeing through the eyes of the heart. So what matters to us, what's important to us, what brings us to a practice, and just this pause before we move on to the next thing in our lives. So notice here if you feel like you're being pulled forward, any time traveling, and just allow yourself to be right here for 50-55 minutes with nothing else to do. Nothing else calling you but this practice. Take one deep breath here, and then bring your arms back into the same shape. So we started with, so the legs spread wide, the arms wide, and then pulsing or pressing through one heel, and then the opposite heel, moving back and forth. So just starting some slight movement. And as you press through one heel, opposite heel, notice if you get a little follow through into the arms. So as I press through my left heel, I feel my left arm reaching away. As I press through my right heel, my right arm, back of the hands on the floor, and just that nice, smooth movement through the whole body, the diagonal of the body. Bring your feet together now, arms alongside you or resting on your belly, and toes up towards the ceiling, heels are planted, and give yourself a little shake. So feet, toes go back and forth, and feel yourself rocking all through your body. Keep the back of your neck long here, so chin reaches slightly towards the sternum, so the back of the neck is long. And feel the vibration here through your body. Ah. Bend your knees, take the soles of your feet to the floor, as wide as your mat space, and then slowly move your knees back and forth. Let the soles of your feet pick up as you move back and forth. Edges of your feet stay planted. All right, the soles pick up, so it's a big movement. And then eventually, as you move to the knees to the left, right arm extends long. Inhale, come back to starting position, knees to the right, left arm extends. And just move back and forth that way a few times, opening intercostals, feeling into your pelvis, your low back. And you can go at your own speed here. I just would suggest going slowly, but go at your own speed. Staying and being spontaneous if that works for you, or that's what you would like in your body. Resting a little bit longer on one side. And then when you've done an even number, come back to center. And now take your right leg over your left leg, squeezing the legs together. And now the sole of your left foot stays on the floor as you just toggle the knees over to the right and back to center, over to the right and back to center. Much smaller action. And sometimes the smaller, more subtle actions are a little bit harder for us to feel or get feedback from, but see if you can get some feedback from the smaller movement. And then stopping and sliding the right ankle onto the left knee, figure 4, drawing your knees into your chest. You could take the right hand through the space if you wanted to as well, but I'm just drawing my knees in towards my torso, getting a sensation in the outer right hip, outer right hip. And slowly bring your left foot back to the floor. And then drop over to the left until your right foot hits the floor. Scooch your left foot out of the way. Take your left foot in your right hand. So right foot is on the floor on the left side of your body. And left foot is over towards the right hand. And if you can take it with your right hand, do that. Great. Then you can slowly unwind all that. Bring the soles of your feet back to the floor and do a couple of pelvic tilts. Neutralizing your SI area, pelvis and low back. Good. There we go. And then left leg over right leg, squeezing the legs together. Sole of the right foot stays on the floor as you just toggle over to the left. Just over to the left. That's a little tiny movement, not near as big as when we have the feet releasing. So just working a little more subtle movement. subtle sensation. Right, and then come to rest and slide the left ankle onto the right knee and draw your knees into your chest. Right, take a couple rounds of breath here. Again, you could take the left hand through the space if that is what you would like, but draw the knees in towards the chest. Feeling sensation in the outer left hip. Are you breathing freely as you hold? Sometimes when we hold a shape, we also hold the breath. So breathing freely here. And then you bring your right foot back to the floor. Lean knees over to the right until your left foot touches the floor. Sole of the left foot on the floor. And then you scoot your right foot out of the way over towards the left hand, taking it with the left hand if possible. There we go for 3, 2, 1, and unwind. Take the soles of both feet to the floor, couple pelvic tilts just to neutralize after getting asymmetrical. Good, and then with the soles of the feet still on the floor, let's do a few dynamic bridge movements. So pressing into your feet, lifting the hips, bringing the hands behind, and rolling that back down one vertebra at a time. Of course, you can leave your hands behind you after you lift if you want, and then just roll down and then bring the hands back to the sides, or you can do the whole business together. So just working in with this dynamic bridge in a way that feels nice and supportive to you, a little bigger movement. Yeah. And see if you can really articulate each vertebra. The length of your spine, the vertebrae all together. Keeping the back of your neck long by drawing your chin in towards your sternum. Next time your hips come down to the floor, bring your arms alongside your body. Now bend your right knee and draw your right knee into your chest and extend your left leg long and hover the left foot, the left leg rather. So hovering here, right knee into the chest, left leg hovering, and then switch that up, left knee into the chest and right leg hovering. And we're just going to move back and forth with that. And now the core is being asked to do a little more engagement. So notice when you hold and draw the navel in and engage the muscles of the belly. Are you also breathing freely? Is the respiratory diaphragm also engaging freely? Inhaling and exhaling as you go. I like to inhale on the switch, exhale on the hold. Let's do 2 more on each side. So finishing with the opposite from where we started. So right leg is long, left leg bent, knee into the chest. And then just take your left foot to the floor, right leg up towards the ceiling. Pressing your right foot up towards the ceiling and your right hamstring away from you. Again, subtle movement. And then taking either your strap on your right foot or grabbing your clothing, having a block over to the right, or maybe even some wall space, take your right leg out to the right. So you feel some sensation in the inner hamstring, the inner seam of the right leg. And 2 rounds of breath here. On your next inhale, inhale the right leg up. You need to take the left leg to the floor now and bring the right leg across in your midline into a twist. Letting the right shoulder pick up if that is what feels best. If you're not completely opened up for a big twist, but can you scoop your belly to the right? Scoop your belly to the right and engage the core muscles and see how that supports your twist. Then you can bend your right knee, inhale, come back to center. Again, soles of the feet to the floor, just a couple of pelvic tilts, maybe pressing the top of the thighs away just to neutralize after that asymmetry. Good, right sole, right foot stays on the floor, left leg reaches up towards the ceiling. Press the sole of your left foot up towards the ceiling. Press the left hamstring away from you. And again, take your strap now to the sole of your foot or the ball of your left foot, or grab your pants or take a block out to the left and then open up. Left leg comes out to the left. Feeling that opening through the inner left thigh, inner hamstring, the most inner part of the hamstring, the back of our leg. Feel this here, this opening, a little engagement. And 3, 2, 1. Bending or assisting your left leg as you come up on an inhale. Right leg comes to the floor and come across midline in a twist. Left leg over to the right and then scoop your belly over to the left. Scoop it over to the left. And that is good. For 3, 2, 1, and then bending left leg, come back to center. Again, soles of the feet back to the floor, feet wide, knees tracking with the feet, just a few cat-cow or pelvic tilt movements. Maybe it might be fun to explore trying to get more movement in the mid-back, your thoracic spine. But just neutralizing everything after the twist. And from here, then you'll roll to one side or you'll cross at the ankles. Anything else you might need before you come up to a seat and transition to hands and knees. Take your time, feel a little dizzy, take your time. So keep your block standing here, and we'll just start with a nice round of cat-cow. So inhaling into the cow, drawing the collarbones forward, spreading the tailbone, letting the belly reach towards the floor. And you can take your gaze up, but not so much that you're really cranking the back of the neck. And then pressing on the exhale, rounding your back, tucking your chin, tucking your tailbone, and moving back and forth with that just a few times. Breath contains the movement. Breath contains the movement. You can always go to forearms if you have any impact in your wrists or hands at all. And then from here, we'll take the hands forward slightly, reach the left leg back, turn left toes under, and then just pulse through that. Working with the calf, the Achilles tendon, and you can take your heel in and out. And then inhale to lift the left leg. Exhale round and bring your left knee in towards your chest. Inhale, extend left leg. Exhale round and bring your left knee into your chest. So spinal balance here. Next time you're extended long with the left leg, reach the right arm out. And then right hand back to the floor. Take your left leg across your midline. Turn your toes under and hold the stretch. You can take your gaze back to your left foot under your right armpit or over your right shoulder. And then bring your left knee back underneath. Draw your hips back towards your heels. Draw your forearms down to the floor and then hips all the way back to heels, child's pose. Let your low back release. You can take your forehead to the floor or to a block. For 3, 2, 1. Then inhale, come back up. Turn the right toes under now. Stretching the right calf, Achilles. And again, you could take the heel in, take the heel out, change the position of your foot. And then inhale, right leg up. Exhale, right knee in towards the chest. Inhale, extend the right leg long. And repeat. Next time your right leg is extended long, left arm reaches out. Spinal balance, holding here. Draw the navel up and in. And then left hand back to the floor. Reach the right leg across your midline, turn toes under. And gaze under your left armpit or over your left shoulder, a little bit bigger. Switch there. And staring at or looking over at that right foot that's on the left side of your body. Good. Then bring your knees back underneath you. Drawing your hips back, forearms to the floor, and hips back all the way towards your heels, or setting a block in between your thighs and your calves, and then resting your forehead on the floor or block, and letting the whole back body spread. See if you can let your whole back body relax here. And then you can lift your head and we'll walk hands over to the right and rest the left hand on top of the right hand, right forearm on the ground. Feel some sensation in the left side body and the left lower back, the QL. that big muscle, supportive muscle on the left side of the lower spine. Walking through center or sweeping through center, hands over to the left, right hand on top of left hand, both forearms down, or at least the left forearm down on the ground. Just feel for some opening through your right side waist. And then sliding back to the center, we'll come back up to the cow. And then on your exhale, turn your toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, drop your knees, come to cow. Exhale, round, 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 bring your hips back towards your heels in child's pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, turn toes under, up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, drop your knees, come to cow. Exhale, round your spine, bring your hips back towards your heels, child's pose. Then cow. Then downward dog. And that's the vinyasa. Take a few rounds here, just warming up through your spine, your hips, your shoulder girdle. And we'll be in the cow position. Good. Then from here, reach your hands out in front. Keep the hips over the knees, but take puppy pose. Draw your triceps down towards the floor. So in the puppy pose, there's a little arch in the back. Good. Then you can take hips right and left a bit. Bring your hands a little closer. Very good. Then bring the knees up in underneath you and walk your hands back, setting hips onto heels. If that's uncomfortable, you can take a block between the ankles. Virasana. Either one is fine. Good. And then from here, just sit up nice and tall. And let's think about lining up the head over the dome of our rib basket. So thinking about the respiratory diaphragm there, the dome shape of the rib basket, almost like a light shade. And then stacking or shining a light on the pelvic bowl. So draw your ribs back into your back body, the front ribs back into the back body. Draw the navel up and in. Reach the crown of your head long. Okay, feel that nice stacked position. And then we'll reach right arm up overhead, left hand to the left side. Double side bend there, and then sweep through the center, right hand beside, left hand up and over, side bending in that towards the right. Come back to through center. Notice if you've changed the orientation, if you're either slouching or flaring the ribs out, front ribs come into the back body, so everything is stacked. And then left hand to the left side of our body, right arm up and over. Sweeping through center and taking the other direction. And back to the center. Find that good stacked position again. And then we'll come up onto our knees. You want your blocks out in front of your space. So standing on the knees. All right, can you find that good position again? So your head is stacked over the throat, ears over the shoulders, right? And that is stacked over the dome of your rib basket, respiratory diaphragm, and that's like a light shade shining the light into the pelvic bowl. So front ribs into the back body space. Good. So now balancing on your knees, bring your right foot forward. Bring your hands to your thigh and come into a little lunge. On your next inhale, draw your pelvic floor up as you come back into the 90-90. Finding that same orientation with the head over the light shade over the pelvic bowl. Keep the front ribs into the back body, pelvic bowl lifted, come back down into the lunge. For 3, 2, 1, and press back up, both knees, take a breath, then resting, weight on the right knee, bring the left foot forward. Just go ahead and go into your lunge first, and then on your next inhale, draw your pelvic floor up as you come back to that 90-90. There it is. Then draw the front ribs into the back body space. Draw the pelvic floor up. Here we go, down into the lunge. For 3, 2, and 1, and back up, 90-90. Both knees on the floor, mat, extra padding if you need it. And then we'll take our blocks out in front. And we can set them up on any position. You might change it as you go into this, but we'll do the same thing. So right foot forward first. And dropping into the lunge, touching fingertips on the blocks, right? And then on your next inhale, draw pelvic floor up, press hard into that front foot, come to the 90-90. Front ribs into back space, back body space, pelvic floor lifted. Do the same thing, but keep all that nice alignment. And then wherever you need the blocks, any setting, take your palms to the blocks, turn the back toes under and lift the back leg. How's the alignment of everything? Good, so it's right foot forward, so we're going to leave the left hand on the block as we spin into a leg twist. Right arm stacked, and up. For 3, 2, 1, bring your right hand back to the block, take your right foot back into a plank. And then drop your knees to the floor, reach your hips back towards your heels, keep your hands on the blocks. So you're in a child's pose shape with the arms extended out in front. And then on your next inhale, stand back up on your knees, release your hands side beside you, reach your fingertips towards the floor, find that nice alignment. And then weight into balancing on your right knee and your left foot forward. Okay, here we go. Come down into the lunge, fingertips to the blocks, the hands to the blocks. And on your next inhale, draw your pelvic floor up as you come into that nice aligned position with the pelvic floor lifted, the head stacked over the ribs, We got the light shade of the ribs, the rib basket shining on the pelvic floor. So keep front ribs pulled into back body space, pelvic floor lifted, and go on back down. Good, and the blocks can be on any level again, right? Hands to the blocks. Turn the right toes under, lift the back leg, lift the right leg. Then right hand stays where it is, twisting to the left. I'm leaving my left arm, my left hand on my hip because of my shoulder, but you could stack left shoulder over right here in this lunge. Come on, you got it. 3, 2, 1. Then left hand comes back to the block, both feet back in a high plank. Pressing the floor away for 3, 2, 1. Now press hips back towards down dog shape. You might have to adjust the feet. You've got the hands on the block still. In the downward dog, arms extended onto the blocks. Turn your triceps down towards the floor. Inhale here, exhale, then inhale, drop your knees back to the floor into the cow, and then exhale, reach your hips back. You might need to readjust the knees, reach your hips back, and come back towards child's pose. With arms extended on the blocks, and then let's try flipping the back of the hand to the blocks. See how much of the back of your hand can you get at least 8 fingertips, the nails of your fingers down on the blocks. Maybe some of you can get your thumbs down on the blocks. Yeah, then switch the hands back down, palms on the blocks. Inhale, come into cow. Exhale, turn toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. Good. Walk your feet up towards your hands, towards the blocks, right? And with hands on blocks in any orientation. Okay, we'll inhale and bend our knees. Knees come out wide, so arms are to the inside of the block, to the inside of the knees, right? So there's our squat, and then on the exhale, press into your feet, lift your hips, and come into a fold with your hands on the blocks. And inhale, squat. And exhale, press into the blocks, lift the hips, and come into a fold. Take your time. So a couple more rounds of that, and then we'll meet in the forward fold. We'll meet in the forward fold. Hands are on the blocks. Good. Good. Then from the fold, just walk your right foot up. Just move my block out of the way so you see. Walk your right foot up and line it up with the block on your right hand, and put your left foot back. So your legs are in kind of a triangle position with a little bend in the front knee. Okay, so use your left hand as needed, but take the right block, the right block on the right side, and take it back to line up with your lower right leg. So block can be on any position. I'm going to turn mine up high. Right hand on the block. And then I'm going to straighten the front leg. Bring my left hand to my hip and open up into Trikonasana. So you're just coming into Trikonasana from the ground up. And you can stack left shoulder over right. I have a little injury in my left shoulder, so I'm going to keep my left hand on my hip. Good. And then from here, we'll bend through the front knee. And the block can go maybe a little bit more lined up with your ankle. Bend through the front knee. You might have to open the back leg up, and you could come into extended side angle. Again, I'm leaving my left arm hand where it is, but bringing left arm over left shoulder for extended side angle. And then I'm going to slowly turn my gaze down to my feet. Get my other block so that I can have both blocks. Turn the back toes. So I'm gonna in this high lunge. Back in this high lunge. Good. And then I'll set my right foot back with my left in the plank. Going downward dog. And you might have to adjust your hands on the block. Then walking feet forward towards the blocks in a fold. Then I'm going to set the left foot forward and the right foot back. Find my block to the outside of my lower left leg. Got a little bend in my front leg. And I'm going to straighten the front leg and turn my torso and come into the Trikonasana, the triangle pose. And then from this triangle, I'll bend through the front knee slightly, maybe scoot my block a little forward and come into extended side angle. With the top arm over the top ear. Notice if you've lost contact with the back heel, can you get the back heel to really engage? And then notice if your front ribs are poking out, can you pull your ribs into your back body? From here, you can turn your gaze, turn your body down to towards your front foot, grab that other block. So right hand comes back to the other block. Turn your back toes. Now you're in a high lunge again. Then reach the left foot back to meet the right in the plank. Then knees to the floor. Reach the hips back. You might set your blocks down on the lowest setting now. Set your hips back. Keep the arms extended. Child's pose with the hands on the blocks. And maybe you can come all the way to the floor with your forehead. Maybe you gotta scoot one of those blocks back for your forehead. You could just leave the other block out in front as a kind of reference point. And then see if you can allow your low back to really just unravel a bit. So soften here, open up. Okay. Then on your next inhale, come up all the way back to all fours. Take a few rounds, pelvic tilt, cat cow, just neutralizing any weirdness there. Okay, then we'll scoot the blocks out of the way and bring the right knee forward, left leg long. So it's a pigeon shape. Don't worry too much about, you just want to rest on your front shin. right? And then you can drop your right hip, keep that front leg in the Baddha Konasana shape, and then bring the left foot behind you. So now knees, right leg in Baddha Konasana, left leg in Virasana. Good, and let's take a twist to the right side. Left hand to the outside of the right leg. And spinning through center, a little counter twist. Then right hand beside the right leg, and you just press up onto both shins and reach left arm up and over. And then exhale to drop your hips back and sweep back up. And drop the hips back down. And sweep back up. And drop the hips back down. Next time you drop the hips back down, take another twist to the right. And slowly unwind, take a little counter twist to the left. Then sweep the left leg in front and set up into Sukhasana, if possible, ankles underneath knees. And find that same alignment. So head is stacked over the light shade of the rib basket, that doming shape. And that doming shape is shining the light right into the pelvic bowl. So find even sitting, and then draw your front ribs into your back body space. This is going to give us the nice alignment in the container to keep the breath even. Now, those of us that find this position okay for the low back can lean forward slightly. You could have a block here. So just leaning forward until we feel some sensation in the outer hips. So there may be many of you that can come all the way with your fingers forward, or your whole upper body on the floor. Do what is the right thing for you. We're just getting some sensation in the outer hips. You might also be sitting on a blanket or a block to find that orientation that works. If you tend to have a lot of tightness in your back line. Yeah. And then walk that back up. Hands behind the body as we switch the orientation, starting with the left leg in, the right leg long, in that sort of pigeon shape. So we're not really going for the full pigeon here. And you could sort of wiggle waggle from your left hip onto your left shin, or you could just hold it with your left shin, weight on your left shin, left foot tucked in. Then from here we drop the left hip down, keep the left leg in Baddha Konasana, and bring the right leg into Virasana. And then from the lower back, start to spin towards the left leg, take a twist. Bring the head back to center. And then from here you could vinyasa this a bit. That felt nice. Or you could hold. We'll then take the left hand beside the left leg and just press up onto the shins. Reach the right arm up and over, and then set the hips back down. So even if we never go we don't have a handstand practice, we're not weighting the wrists and the hands that way. This is really nice to weight the hands and the wrists, especially as we get older. We want to keep the bones strong by impacting them in this with this weighting action, right? So cat cow, hands and knees, cat cow is good. This is good, and we'll do this a few times, right? And then we'll come back to the twisting to the left. Yeah, good. Then there's a slow unfold as you take a counter twist. All right, and so now as you come back to center, the right leg sweeps in the front. And we're back in the Sukhasana. And find that nice even sitting on your sit bones, head stacked over the dome, stacked over the bowl. Draw the front ribs into the back body space. And breathe freely here. Then hinging forward as per your capacity. Could have a block here. Just going for a little sensation. Maybe hands come all the way forward here. You're having a little sensation in the outer hips. Notice if you feel in a hurry, you want to skip any part for whatever reason, just let things take their time. Take their time. Slowly backing away, backing off. Let's interlace fingers now and roll through our wrists. Opposite direction. Oh, so much more brain work here. So really good for our brains to change up the way we do things, especially the habitual things. So we're learning, the brain is setting down new pathways, right? Then from here, either stay in Sukhasana, take a block or two into Virasana. And we'll take the arms out to the sides and open and close the hands. Open and close the fingers, right? So stretching through your fingers and then making a fist. And then you can begin to make that a little faster. Good, and shake your hands in every direction. And then fingertips to shoulders, moving through big circles with the elbows. Taking the opposite way. And then let's interlace hands behind the sacrum or take opposite wrist with opposite hand and draw the shoulder blades, squeeze the shoulder blades in, draw the arms off the back if possible here. Then just release, let the arms be loose. If you're sitting on a block, you're going to remove the block. Everybody will come into the Dandasana shape, so legs straight out in front, hands behind us. Hands behind you. And find that same alignment. Same alignment. Okay. So really lining up the rib basket over the bowl of the pelvis. Really stacking your head over the rib dome over the bowl of the pelvis. Draw the low ribs back into the back body space. Stack everything nice and even in your Dandasana. Lift the collarbones. And then slowly, 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 you'll release that effort and bend the knees or take the arms behind, the hands behind the legs and lower yourself to the floor. And here you could go to a traditional Shavasana, or you could put your feet up on some furniture, your lower legs up on a couch or chair, or go to wall space and take your legs up the wall. Your choice. You could also put a block underneath your sacrum, legs straight up in the air, supported shoulder stand. But just begin to allow yourself again this opportunity to just drop down, drop down, drop down. So bones are heavy, bones are heavy. Everything is being supported by the earth, by gravity. There's a dropping down. Again, just noticing if you're being pulled forward in any way, time traveling in any way. Can you just be here now? And then take your hands back to that same space above the heart. A little space between your hands and your body, and bring your awareness to that space. What is important to you? What's in the heart right now? And we can meet that space without fear. Whatever is there, just embrace that. And that's a big part of our practice, right? Seeing through the eyes of the heart. Wherever you are is fine to stay there. If you would like to roll onto one side or find your way to a seat, you can do that on your own time, listening to your body. I'm going to close our session with one Om, which you may just listen. You could hum an Om, do a silent Om, or join me. But I'm going to take hands to that heart space again. Inhale through the nostrils, open mouth, exhale. And inhale to Om. Namaste.